Do you know across the world now, millennials are pushing this trust thing even further into a sharing business culture. There are companies now that will allow you, while you're sitting in here today, to hire out your car to an interested party for the time that you're here. There are companies that will allow, of course, for you to hire out your house for a couple of weeks when you're on holidays. And this is an old idea, but it's been significantly updated for the digital age. These mesh or sharing models are coming about for several reasons, and they're very important that you understand them. The first is the economic crisis has caused people to distrust old models. It's also led to a re-questioning of our values and our ethics when it comes to economy. There's a push in some parts of the world for what they're calling a more, quote, moral capitalism. The ethics philosopher Michael Sandel, if you haven't read him, I'd encourage you to do so. He asks a very pointed question in his latest book. He says, do we want a market economy or a market society? In other words, do we want the market to serve us or to define us? And the millennial generation largely, which is driving things like Occupy Wall Street, is saying we want a capitalism that serves us, not defines us. So people are rethinking values, and they're much more open to new ways of doing things. What's more, population growth, climate change, the search for greater efficiencies in things like water management and fuel is increasing the cost of doing things the old way. So it's no longer economically viable to do things just on ownership basis. Sharing is becoming more of an option. And of course, urbanization. 1 million people are added to the world cities every week. By 2015, over 50% of Africa will live in urban centres for the first time ever. By 2030, 60% of India will live in urban centres. That's going to push their energy needs up by a factor of 3 to 4 times. Urbanisation is a way that is here to stay, but how many know that when you have a lot of people living in small space, they're much more open to sharing stuff than they would be if spread out. There's a sharing culture emerging on the back of this millennial-driven trust culture, trust ideal.